This is Cities in Motion 2, and I'm going to show how to build an underground train system. I have an existing train system. You can see on the map, it's highlighted in green. So all these green lines are my underground rail system, which is known as a metro. However, there's a few issues. Number one, I don't have full coverage. I only have approximately 50% of the map covered. One of the other issues is that most of my trains run from the north to the south, so I don't have a lot of east-west coverage, which I'm going to have to add. This is called a metro. The metro is really good because it does generate a lot of revenue, and it can also be very expensive to lay down the track. Plus, it moves people very quickly across the map. So I'm going to look for my depot, which should be over here somewhere. If not, I'll have to place one. I have a lot of room up here in the north. I thought I put one down. It's possible that I put one down and the game may have crashed and I may have lost it. But if not, I'm just going to drop another one. It's going to run from the north to the south on this main island on the north, and then the southern island, which is actually in the middle. So I'm probably going to start in this area, and I'm probably going to have multiple lines coming out of the same depot. The metro depot is very inexpensive, and I usually use the underground depot. And the key is going to be to place it. It has to rotate. I'm using the right mouse button to rotate it. And I'll have to decide where I'm going to place it. Which is probably going to be right here. Okay, so that depot is now placed. I'm going to go to where it says Build Roads. I'm going to find the metro track. I'm going to use the double track. And I'm going to put it in the underground mode, which is this button here. I'm going to use the page down button to bring it down to -8 meters. And I'm going to start running that track. The first thing I have to do is I have to head for the other track. There's a highway over here that's also submerged, so I have to find a way to get around that highway. Got a long way to go. And I'm going to kick it back up to -8 meters. This part of the track is not going to be that useful because it's going to be used by more than one route, so it's going to have a lot of trains running on it. Now here we have the old existing track, and we want to run somewhat parallel to it. I'm going to show you the distance apart. The existing lines are 2 blocks apart, and the new line is also going to be 2 blocks apart. Ideally, we want people to be able to transfer from one line to the next, which would mean we would have to share a station between many lines, but I'm not going to do that for this line. The people are going to have to get out and walk to the station they want to go to. Now, the first thing you want to do when you lay your track down, you don't want to put it under the road. You want to put it next to the road. The reason why is because if you put it under the road, you're going to have trouble adding your stops. You're going to have trouble connecting to it. So you have to put it a little bit to the side. And it's your decision if you want to go down the middle of the block or alongside the existing roads. You could do it many different ways. But I tend to do it near the intersections alongside the roads because I know I have a lot of stops near the intersections. And I want the people on my train to be able to take other transportation. So they're going to go to those intersections if they want to transfer to the bus, or if they want to transfer to the monorail, or if they want to transfer to the tram system. This might actually be coming out of the water. It's hard to tell right now. I don't think I went under the water. I think that's going to be visible above the water. Now we're getting to the point where the line is too long because it's 3,800 meters, so I have to stop for a moment and I'm going to have to reconnect, start a new segment. There's going to be, here we have a conflict because there is a train station right there and I'm going to have to go under it. So I'm going to give myself some room. I'm going to use the page down button to go under, and then I'm going to use the page up button to try to bring it back. It has to go pretty deep over here. There should be plenty of building space underground. Above ground you have a lot of limitations because of buildings, and you probably lose 80% of your building space above ground simply because you have buildings in the way. But underground you have a lot of room. So don't worry about running out of space underground. Although it can happen in key areas. Hopefully I'll be able to make it all the way across here. Here's another rail line. I'm going to have to go under that rail line. Like, one of the things I could do is I could actually connect and use this stop and share the stop. And I think it's a very good idea, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop my rail system right here. So that part of the construction is done, and the reason why I'm doing that is it guarantees me a straight line. If I had continued on, it would have curved the line to the north off camera. You would not have seen it. You have to get close when you place this. You have to make sure when you place your rail that the rail actually connects. I'm going to take this green. It disappeared. That's weird. Okay, well. So the connection is good on that end. I have to check the other end. And the other end, the connection is good. What I'm doing is I'm checking to make sure that all of the rails are actually making this connection. It's possible right there that the rail will just be gone. It'll be missing. And if it is, you have to redo the connection. For some reason the line disappeared. But that's okay. So we've gone this far, however, we haven't made it all the way through the map. And the choice is to either stop now or continue onward, and I think I'm going to continue onward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the track on the other side. In the original Cities in Motion, you could go into a station and then pull out, but on this one you cannot. On this one, if you go into a station, you can't reverse out of it. Now I have to be down at 16 meters because I have to cross over these other lines. And I'm going to try and connect to that station, which means I'm going to have to make a loop. And it will have to be at 8 meters, so it's going to come up. I'm going to have to rebuild what I just did. I'm going to make a pivot point. So it looks like that's lower than 8 meters. That is negative 20 meters. So I'm actually going to be going down and not up. I'm going to zoom in, and as you can see, all the rails are connecting properly. But the problem is that my new system needs to be able to turn around and come back. So somewhere I'm going to have to make a little loop. And I'm going to do it using one lane instead of two. I'm going to draw this out, go over, or under, and go under. And it's going to be a fairly large loop. And it's going to reconnect. You can't make the loop connect back to itself. You have to do it in two pieces. That's one of the limitations of the game. Let's see where it connects. And I will have it connect wherever it can, which will be right there. So I've laid down a new track. The next step, of course, is going to be to add the stops. And I'm going to remove this little junction right there. And there's another junction. There's a few of them on the map, but I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to go back to the top, find my depot, which is right here, and I'm going to build a station. I always use the largest. You have 3 to choose from. Metro stop, the first one, the second one, and the third one. I'm going to use the last one. They can be expensive. If you don't have a lot of money, you might not be able to afford them. But I think it's better to drop them down now. I wait until I have enough money before I start dropping a lot of them. So you have to make money. I don't want to have too much congestion for the trains that are leaving the station. But I will put a stop. Okay, if you need to put a stop, it has to be somewhat near a road. I'm going to put it right here. And I'm checking a few different things. Number one, I'm checking to see how close I am to the surface road. And I will show you the surface roads, which is that red line right there. Number two, there is a monorail stop, which is currently highlighted in red. And number three, you've got this large green circle. And that's your coverage area, and you want those coverage areas to be overlapping, otherwise you have gaps. So this has an overlapping coverage area, and I have to pretty much put it right here. Don't have much of a choice. It's easier to place when you're along a specific route. Like, for example, this is just a curving track to get from the depot to the north-south roadway. And right now the stops aren't going to line up with anything. There's going to be no bus routes over here, no trams. But once I start getting to the main road, which is over here, all of my stops are going to meet up with stops from the rest of the transit system. So right here, this metro is right next to a bus stop, and there's a tram stop nearby. And I'm going to try to line them up as much as possible so people don't have to walk as far if they decide to switch. You can see there's a lot of traffic on the highway there. When you lay down the mass transit, it has two effects on traffic. Number one, it will reduce some of the traffic because people are more likely to use transit rather than drive. But second of all, it will increase your population, and as your population increases, more people will drive. And I've definitely noticed that when I lay down more transit systems, the population does increase. I can check the population graph afterwards to see if there's a population increase once I get this line running. Now you'll see over here we've got 3 different transit systems that all come to the same intersection. We've got the tram, which is in red, and we've got the buses, which are this purple color, and we've got the metro underground, which is in green. It looks like we are getting to an open area. And in the open area, nobody lives in the open area, obviously. It's all grass. But I'm still using the same method. I'm still watching those green circles to check how they overlap, trying to get near intersections where people can transfer to the bus system. Ideally, you want, this is a north-south transit system that I'm laying down. Ideally, you want it to match up with transit that's heading east and west. Over here, we've got a lot of different choices. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different stops. There's a lot of different places that they can go, so I expect that a lot of people are going to get off at this stop. You can see there's a lot of traffic on the road. We're going to go under the river. Actually, this is going to be going over the river, I think. And there you can see it actually goes over the river. You want to zoom out when you have to scroll a lot. Zooming out will give you more speed, scrolling speed. Now again, we want to connect with east-west transit systems. And right here, we have 2 tram stops that are going east and west. So I'm going to put the stop near that transit system. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of those east-west transit systems. Over here, we have one. The upper monorail, which is in orange, is going east and west. So we're going to have a stop right next to it, which will also be a very effective stop. It would have been nice to build that stop a little bit lower, but they'll be able to walk there if they want to get to that station. There's a little lake over there that we're going under. I think there's a lake. Yeah, there's a little lake. We went under that little lake. So now we've got another westbound bus stop. So we're going to place our stops here. And we've got that monorail. You can see the train from the monorail is going to be crossing any second now. The red line is the monorail. Here we have a lot of traffic. From one of the many highways. and we're coming to the southern point of the island. I'm going to put it right here because it is close to that east and westbound tram, which I will highlight is here in red. It's basically at that red intersection, so they don't have far to walk. We're going to go across the river. Over here we have another transit system that's very convenient. It's going to help out a lot. Then we're going to connect to the other stop. This is an existing stop, so we're going to skip that one. And then we connect to, we're going to skip that line. I'm going to place the stops near this road, and the reason why is because it will give them easy access to this intersection, which has the 4 bus stops, which is a little bit to the left. We're going to connect to the existing subway stop right here. So I'm done placing stops for that track. So I'm going to go back to the depot, and I'm going to click on the transport panel. I'm going to scroll this down, click on Create New. I'm going to use the Add Stops icon. I'm going to start with the depot. I'm going to add this stop. I'm going to make sure that the 0 turns from yellow into a white 0, which means it was successfully added. And I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to watch that green line also to make sure it's following along. Right now, it might look like the stop has been added, but I haven't added it yet. If you look on the window on the right, it says stop 301, not assigned to any line. I'll make it go away and make it come back. Haven't added it yet. So I'm going to click on that, and now it's been added. So it's very easy to become confused and think that you've added a stop when you really haven't. It's one of the things you have to learn to pay attention to. If I scroll out, I'll be able to add these stops faster because the screen will scroll faster. We've got a long way to go. We've done about 30%, well, actually more like 15%, because we have to go all the way south, and then we have to return back to the north. It looks like there's a large backup of buses. There's some sort of a traffic jam over there, so I'm going to have to fix that. You can see it over on the right. It looks like bus line 28 is backed up. All of these buses over here all need to be fixed, and they're easy to fix. There's a bug in the game where sometimes a vehicle will just stop running, and you've probably come across this bug. Fortunately, there's a very easy fix for it, which I will demonstrate. The only issue is you have to be aware that there's a problem in order to fix it. It doesn't fix itself. We're going to go around this loop. I'm going to skip. No, you know what? I'm just going to add the stop. But I could have skipped stop number 93 if I wanted to. And that stop was right after the turnaround. It doesn't make sense to stop and then go around the loop and stop again. But it'll make it easier so people don't have to walk, the pedestrians won't have to walk to the other side of the street. They can just wait there and we'll pick them up. There you can see that issue with all the buses that have a jam. The way I'm going to fix it is I'm going to find out which bus is causing the jam. I'm going to go to the front of the line. And then I'm going to find which bus line it's on. Let's say it's bus line 28. And then there's an option to shut the line off. And when you shut the line off, all the buses are going to immediately disappear. There's another jam. All the buses on the line, and you can do this for any type of transit, excuse me, they'll all disappear and return to their depots. And then they'll start out again. And whatever problem caused it, which is a bug in the game, it's not for any other reason, it's not something you can fix, but the problem will go away. And you have to do it because right now those vehicles are not generating income. And they're also blocking traffic. They're not picking up passengers. So that route is finished. I'm going to go to the info page. I'm going to go to the Metro Depot. I'm going to change the timetable. I'm going to go to custom, set the end time to 23:55, which is 11:55 p.m. I'm going to set the interval to perhaps 2 minutes and click OK. And it's recommending 11 trains, so I'm going to purchase about 15 trains. And I am now done. And I'm going to turn off. Okay, so we've got to figure out what the problem is here. Seems like bus line 9 over here is not moving. I'm going to click on this bus, running on bus line 9, which is highlighted. And I'm going to go to this little green dot that says toggle activity, and I'm going to turn it off, and you're going to see all those buses disappear. The other vehicles are going to advance. I'm going to turn it back on. So now all those buses went back to the depot, which might cause a line of vehicles trying to get into the depot, because now the depot is full. The traffic jam hasn't automatically cleared. I'm going to go to bus line number 1. I'm going to turn it off with a little green circle and then turn it back on. And hopefully that will fix the problem, but we'll have to wait and see. You don't want to send too many vehicles back to the depot at the same time. It can create a lot of havoc. So we've got another issue here. Looks like bus line 21. Turn that off, and I wouldn't be surprised if they all disappear. Then turn it back on. And like I said, it's more likely to be a defect in the game as opposed to a traffic jam. Sometimes when you start the game, you have to go and fix these little jams that occur. For example, if you go here, you're going to see that it is in fact a defect in the game. Bus line 62. The buses are overlapping, and not only are they overlapping, but he's right there at the bus stop, and he's not moving. So there's a defect. And the buses are not, you're not supposed to have two buses in the same spot. It's not possible. It would be nice if you could just turn every single bus off and then back on. Something weird happened. I think I may have accidentally deleted that bus line. I think that's what happened. I don't know. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, so it's running again. I accidentally closed the window when I intended for it to reactivate the line. The game becomes a little slow. I'm using a laptop. It's not the fastest, although it is a decent speed. You'll notice that the depot is alerting you that there's issues. All the buses are out on the route, but they're not able to return. Now I also have to scan the map to see if there are any other issues. Looks like we got another problem here. Line number 5. For some reason it's at a standstill and it's not moving anymore. It is due to bad programming. And unfortunately, this is one of the bugs that hurts this game. And fortunately, I figured out that solution. This over here doesn't look like a backup. The problem here is that it's Saturday and we just sent a lot of buses back to the depot, so they're just queuing up. That's just normal. There's way too many trains over here. There's got to be something wrong. So for some reason, there's just way too many trains heading for this depot, and it's not doing us any good. 10, 20, 30, 40 trains out of 47. There's only 7 extras. And they're all out on the route, but for some reason there's just too many here, and I'm going to have to check on that. What I might have to do is move one of the trains to another depot, which is very easy to do. You can see there's a lot of unhappy people because they're not being picked up. And keep in mind, we're losing money. We're not losing money, but we're missing making money. So number 14 has a problem. There's another game that I played called Industry Giant, made by a company called Joe Wood. It's a very good game. I'm sure you'll love playing it. It also has a bug where vehicles just suddenly stop moving. Unfortunately for that game, I never found a fix. So here we don't know what the problem is. It could be just a matter of time before it clears up. See if there's anything else that needs to be fixed. There's a lot of passengers waiting to be picked up. Now, obviously this was about laying down the metro track, and there was a problem that was discovered, which hopefully has been fixed. So over here we have an issue with trains. I'm going to turn off the train lines. And you can see that the trains are trying to get into the station. However, they're not making it in. The station can hold 12 trains. There's 10, 20, 30, 35, 40 that go out on the route. We've got 47 total. 10, 20, 28, 35 are outside of the station, and 12 are in the station. So the issue is that we've got trains that have not been leaving on schedule. and they need to get out of that station. If they don't get out of that station, we get this long line of trains. There could be a lot of trains there. You can see over here all of these green rectangles. It's a line of trains waiting to get in. And the way I'm going to fix it, I'm going to open up Metro Line 5, and I'm going to check. It's a pretty long line. I'm going to check the schedule, the timetable. Game just crashed, which is unfortunate because I did not save the game, which means that I lost that rail line that I placed.